Welcome back to Sean's Thoughts, and that's, of course, Sean with a W. I'm delighted that you are joining me today for this interesting conversation I'm choosing to explore. And as I've mentioned in the comments, it has to do with the videos that I create, one of my podcast series called Do Nothing, which actually is Do No Thing Shorts. You see, I recently, I guess you could say, posted this playlist or this podcast in one of the communities that I'm a part of, and I had an interesting observation made by someone, which actually I had thought of about in the past myself, and this was that in our reality, and perhaps unknown by many, we had a place called the no thing. Essentially, that our reality itself, our matrix that we live in, essentially had the source of everything, and then the opposite in this duality in which we exist in, there was a point of no thing. And this person had mentioned that I was essentially mentioning that, and that I had expressed that I was actually referring to the idea of presence and calmness, and the idea that it's important that we do no thing. And so I wasn't referring to the place of no thing, I was referring to the experience of doing no thing. And essentially, the idea was obviously we were playing on the word nothing. And so today I'd like to essentially talk a lot more about these and perhaps highlight them because they do have a magnificent, in my opinion, intention behind them. See, when I originally started creating shorts for YouTube, I was uploading shorts, YouTube shorts, and they were of Aesop Fables. And the idea, of course, of shorts is often to use them as tools in a sense to direct people towards a video. So for instance, you could create a short of your video, a highlight, and have it advertised on the shorts, in which the short feeds are generally a lot more viewed, because a lot of people, as I noticed when walking on or taking the bus, they would often scroll through hundreds of shorts during the bus trips that I watched. I watched people I was on the bus. And so this entry level into the audience as a short was a cool way of doing things. However, I wasn't just wanting to create shorts to direct people to my videos. I trust that people will find them. Actually, on all of the shorts in the bottom left corner, there's usually a little link, and it directs people to a related video. And often I will put videos that I have creatively created, such as my I4C series or my possibility series, or just a candid talk overall, and direct people to there should they choose to experience something different. And anyways, so I began by creating these Aesop Fable shorts, in which I would put a moral story from Aesop Fables. It's a phenomenal, more of a classic type of story, and they would have moral lessons, and some of them would be pretty dark and grim. And yet I truly enjoyed reciting or reading these out loud, and it was almost as if some people had said that I was reading it to them. And eventually I started off by using pictures, and then I started to truly discover the moving picture, as my sister had mentioned, that I really love capturing short frames. And originally, when I started doing these, I only had a minute, yet YouTube increased it up to 3 minutes. And so it gave me a lot more time to, you know, create or to record an Aesop fable. Now, the Aesop Fables didn't really take off, and so I ended up changing it, and I was inspired to create, which we're here to talk about today, the Do No Thing podcast series. And essentially, these were like the Aesop Fables, a way for me to express my creativity. And now, because I had the 3 minutes, I was able to actually go beyond and create these short meditative experiences. Now, my do nothing videos, they range from 1 minute to 3 minutes. The original ones were one, and then I worked my way up to two, and then we got all the way to three. And to be honest, it is challenging, even for me occasionally, to stop whatever I'm doing and literally do no thing for up to 3 minutes. And I encourage everyone who's viewing to definitely explore the playlist that I will, of course, post or connect with on this video, because taking that moment to actually still one's mind and, be in the state of now, and that seems to be where we are headed. And to be in the now means you aren't connected to the past and you aren't connected to the future. Means that we hold no expectations, we hold no hope, but we also hold no trauma and or baggage or grudges or any type of, I dare to say, hatred. So when we're in the now, we have no tethers, and it's as if we're a hot air balloon that's just soaring through the sky, going up, 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 not held back, not held in the direction of expectation of where we're going. We're just being. And that's what these do no thing shorts, they were all about. They were allowing people, especially the people scrolling, to stop and take a moment to themselves. Because when we do that, when we clear our mind, when we are completely present, we are able to essentially see a lot more of what's going all around us. There might actually be your future lover on the bus right next to you. And if we're stuck in that moment of scrolling to the next video and being further entertained by the matrix, then we perhaps miss that opportunity. And, well, that's a loss by so many. I believe there are so many different situations where we're guided to all of these different connections, whether they're with people or essentially with ourselves, maybe even with an animal. And we miss this because our attention, which, by the way, is our energy, which is our, I forgot the actual word for it, but it's our attention is our energy. And where we put that attention is what we essentially co-create. So often a lot of these shorts that we scroll through, they are AI generated, or they're purposely put there because they know that they'll hold your attention the most. I often see that on my shorts, they'll give me an average time of viewership, and generally, even these do nothing shorts, they average 10 to 20%. There's few that hold on to people's attention far more. For example, I have a do nothing short where I think it's do nothing 2025, and it showcases several images of fossils which I had taken from the Drumheller Museum, or not the Drumheller Museum, the Royal Tyrrell Museum in the Badlands of Alberta. And this particular one, of course, it holds our attention more because it shows us something that we are interested in. And yet the showcase or the purpose of the do nothing was simply to give us some moments to self-reflect, to heal ourselves, because when we do disconnect, we definitely do heal, as well as a break from our brains constantly working on overdrive. See, taking that short 1 minute or 2 minute time to do no thing also allows the brain to turn off, to disconnect from that fight or flight feeling and effect that we are constantly under. There are so many different stimuli and purposeful distractions, we'll say, in the world around us. The noises, the red lights, the color red overall, the constant LED lights everywhere. LED lights are even something that distracts us from reality because they're artificial light with a lot of times a high level of blue light put into the light. And essentially they're affecting the melatonin and serotonin levels within our bodies themselves, and overall our biochemistry is being manipulated. And so even though we are, well, the screens that you're looking at do use blue light, it essentially gives us that opportunity. And I often use meditative music. So I even encourage you, even if you sit and you watch the first few images of, or the first few moments of the image, to let the videos run through the end and take that time, take that 68 seconds or that 3 minute pause to what's going on in your life, whether you're on a bus or you're sitting in an office or out wherever you are. Of course, if you're out in nature, I definitely suggest that you just meditate, put your phone away, and forget about my videos. But if you're in a situation, traveling or doing something where, you know, a little bit of love for nature. And why I say that is because, as I've mentioned, a lot of the videos that I create, and most of them are short clips of nature itself, whether they're pigeons on a wire or water through a rocky river that's cut its way through a lava tube, or the sun shining through the leaves. Like, I truly enjoy all these digital creations. And in a sense, or not in a sense, to be truthful, when we create something, when I create those, I'm co-creating, I believe, with source, with God. And so, in a sense, and now it's in a sense, you are also sharing time with me and God, because God is in all things, in all nature. Actually, I'll say God is in all organic things. And yeah, so I truly do trust that by me sharing this attention with you on my creations, do no thing, that perhaps more of us can do exactly that. Spend more time doing no thing and relaxing our minds and allowing that cortisol level that's in our bodies to essentially to dissolve will go. I'm trying to think of a different word, but to essentially allow our bodies to remove that cortisol and calm ourselves. Because one of the interesting things about taking even a minute is that when your body has a chance to reduce the amount of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, which is the constant flight or fight, it allows our brain to actually work better, because that cortisol, essentially, when it's pumping through our system, it's turning off our brain's ability to process information. It even often turns off our ability to want to eat. And that's why playing video games, for example, is detrimental to our health at long expanses, because we forget to eat, we forget to take care of our body. And by watching even 1 minute of these meditation clips that I have, we're giving our body a chance to recover, and then our brain to essentially work better and perceive what goes on in our world just a little bit better. So maybe the next time when that person bumps you, that we aren't caught up in an instant reaction and we're able to respond with more compassion, perhaps. So I will conclude by talking about the image that is on the camera right now. And this is a plant of mine that for half the year it was sitting inside. And you'll notice that a part of the plant is almost wood-like. However, due to the cold weather, I decided to bring this plant inside. Normally, these plants essentially, well, I've been told that they're only like 1 year plants or like seasonal plants, but I decided to bring it inside. And inside, I use incandescent light bulbs, and it essentially has started growing differently. It's taken on a different structure. And I've noticed that plants that grow inside versus plants that grow outside, I've noticed that they appear considerably different. The leaves look different. The actual plant itself is different. And so I thought I'd showcase this difference because, we are moving into a world where Gaia, where our planet is essentially going through its own evolution, its own upgrade, we can say. And all life, all plants are definitely part of that nature, Mother Nature. And so I thought this was a kind of cool exhibition or showcase to show while I talked. And up above there's a fan, and that's causing a little bit of movement. And so you see, I really do take time to consider what we're viewing while I essentially share with you. So I hope that this better explains my intention. I'm not meaning to talk about the place of no thing. That lower astral dimension, I believe, is closed for business. And so, yeah, it's time to take back a lot of our words and our feelings and our meanings and start to reframe the way we intend to live rather than the way that we were programmed to live. So please take a moment. I will, as I said, connect at the end of this video and put the playlist for my Do Know Thing podcast. And I encourage you to click on it, on the playlist, and just run the whole video. That would definitely help. And if you don't have the time, scroll through and look for one that interests you and take that time of 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes to yourself. There's some great water sound videos in there and waterfalls if you like that type of thing. And I look forward to taking a lot of these videos. I'm actually looking at the Rocky Mountains right now, and they're all snow covered, and I would love to sit on a really high building and just take a video of that. So look out for Doing No Thing with the Rocky Mountains coming soon to you. So thank you so much, and I enjoy every moment of connecting and sharing the creativity and my co-creation with you. So much, and I know we're gonna have an amazing New Year's this year. So blessings to the entire world and much love.